Good day, guys, Austin here, and in this one today, we're going to be playing a little bit of PlayStation Now. So for those of you who've been out the loop for a while, PlayStation Now is a way for us to play our PS3 games, our PS2, old classics, retro stuff, pretty much anything that's on the PlayStation Network. And do not think that this is little homebrew games. These are full titles: The Last of Us, God of War, all kinds of legendary classics that have been forgotten from systems gone by. However, we can rekindle the flames of these games and we can play them on, well, now the PC. You see, up until now, I had this built into my Sony TV and it was absolutely glorious. On a daily basis, I would play my forgotten classics. However, up until a month ago, it was either on there or on those little PlayStation TV little boxy things. But now, it's open for us PC people also. So at the moment there is a free 7-day trial, which is absolutely amazing. It means that you can get your hands on, you can test out all the games, you can see what's actually on there before you buy. So, me being the good guy I am, I'm also jumping all over this and seeing what it's all about to see if it really is a worthy adversary for emulation in terms of all these games and see what, well, its limitations. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, so now we know what PlayStation Now is all about, but what we want to do is get this up and running on our PCs. But first things first, let's make sure our PC can handle it. So in the description down below, you'll see a link, more than likely guiding you to this site here, which is the official PlayStation Now on PC website. And on here is everything that you will need to know for all kinds of geeky stats and information to read up on and enjoy at your own leisure. However, we're making a video here and it needs to be pretty relevant. So at the bottom, as you can see, we've got system requirements and minimum specifications. Make sure you look at this and make sure your system is up to scratch. It's not exactly very demanding, this program, because we're not actually playing the games through our computer. We're playing them through the internet. So that's the main thing we need to take on board. This system works in the same kind of process as Netflix or another streaming site that will give you movies and TV on your computer. That's how it's working. It's actually streaming the games through the internet to visualize on your screen. However, because we are interacting with the game, it needs to be a two-way conversation, which means that your internet needs to be a little bit more stronger than normal. Now, I'm not saying we need super NASA, big massive broadbands with gigabits per second and all kinds of stuff. I'm talking about we just need a pretty healthy internet connection, and PlayStation themselves say that it should be 5 megs and above. Now, I don't know what country you're from, but please make sure you are doing that. Also, I would also encourage that you use this over a wired connection to your internet. In other words, an Ethernet cable running to your router or wherever it is you've got your internet up and running. I have run this through my Wi-Fi. In other words, my TV has in the past been connected through the router over the Wi-Fi connection, and I have noticed minimum lag at all. In other words, I could hardly notice. So it is playable over Wi-Fi, but I would strongly recommend you use wired to give you the best possible experience across the board. Okay, now we've got that out of the way, and we hopefully would all be singing on the same hymn sheet. Next thing we need to do is make sure we can actually communicate with this using our controller. So yes, you do need a controller to play games, and it used to be the fact that you needed the PlayStation 4 only pad. That was the only pad that used to work. However, it looks like they've broadened out their horizons, and now you can use different ones. Click on this tab here, and it will tell you all about the controllers and setups and things that you can do. It's pretty boring, and I don't want to go into it in this kind of detail. I myself am using a PS4 pad, and I've got it hardwired into the computer. In other words, I'm using the wire plugged into the USB socket. However, I have seen now there's a DualShock 4 wireless adapter. I've never seen this before, so I will be purchasing this in the future because I'm sure that it could come in handy. Okay, once all that's done and we're all up to speed, we can finally install the application. So here is the tab. Download this, put it on your computer. It will ask you if you've got a PS4 pad, do you want to install the drivers and stuff that go along with it? Obviously, common sense, if you have, install it. If you haven't, maybe not. It's up to you. Once that's done, you'll greet with an app, install everything, and it is done. It should leave a shortcut on your desktop. After that, not looking rocket science, double click it on the desktop. Okay, so when you double click, this is what you're greeted with. This is the GUI. This is the little application that gets all your games working. Now, at this point, if you had your controller already plugged in, you should be able to navigate the system and choose your games, do everything from your controller itself. If not, and it isn't working, go to the top and navigate to these little icons here. One of them should say to switch between mouse or controller. Switch to whatever you want. You can navigate all this with your mouse and keys or whatever it is you want to control it with, but obviously because you're using a controller to play the games, it's common sense you probably want to use the controller to actually navigate this menu. Okay, now we've crossed that barrier. At this point you may not have a PlayStation account, so click on a game or something within here and it should ask, do you want to start, do you want to do something, do you want to play the game? At this point you will need to log in to a PlayStation account. If you've got one, log into that one. If you haven't, make one using the process that's put on the screen for you, and then you should be able to, if you haven't already, use the 7-day trial to enable you to use this for free for 7 days. Just fill out all the forms that it needs to set up your account, and once it's done, you've now got 7 days to see if this floats your boat or not, and you should be up to the level that I'm up to here. Now, at this point, let's have a look, see what games are on here. These are games from PlayStation 3 and downwards. There's quite a few even more modern ones, but they're not to the kind of AAA standards that would be sold. You got to think in the consideration here, for the UK, this would cost me $12.99 per month to play this. To get this going every month, I would have to pay $12.99. UK pounds. For the US, I think it's about 19 bucks. Obviously different countries, different rates, all that kind of good stuff, but that enables me to play every game that is on here. Now these are the ones that are mostly played, so you've got all the good stuff at the top. Heavy Rain, I love that game by the way. I know everyone hates it, but it's one of my favorites. Last of Us, Uncharted, Mortal Kombat, Injustice. There's quite a lot of decent games on here. This isn't gone are the days where it was just PlayStation Network games, crappy little fan-made ones and all that kind of stuff. There's actually some really good titles here. According to the description, there's more than 400 titles. Now, some of them are crap. I'm not going to float everyone's boat on here, but some of the titles are pretty good. Now, these are the list that I've put together of some of my favorites. Shadow of Colossus, obviously PlayStation 2 game, been remastered into HD, but I can do that on PlayStation 2 emulator anyway. But Killzone 3, awesome. Uncharted series, awesome. Ratchet and Clank, there's quite a few of them on here. Alex Kidd even does Master System games, Genesis games, Dreamcast games. Now, of course, not full collections of any of these, but a good collection to say the least. All you need to do is scroll down. There's loads of different categories that you can go through, multiplayer ones, peruse at your own leisure, adventure, all that kind of good stuff. It goes on and on and on, all kinds of different categories. Choose what floats your boat, see what's around, see if there's the kind of games that you like to play, and then let's actually have a look and see if we can test one. So what can I test first? Let's have a look at my list. Let's have a go of Virtua Fighter Final Showdown 5. Now the good thing about this is that when I start, it does take a little minute for it to kick in. It takes about a minute. It depends on your internet connection, of course, how fast it actually syncs up. But at this moment in time, it's kind of like you're installing it into your cloud. So at this moment, you're playing it on a server somewhere crazily miles away in PlayStation land, and it's beaming the information to and forth from your computer to the actual server. And it actually holds everything that's needed for the game. So if you have any, I don't know, save games or anything like that, it actually keeps it in the cloud. So even if you move to a different computer, even if you was to put this game onto your actual PlayStation 3 or onto another computer altogether, it would always keep you saved and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it has got the full PlayStation, I can't remember what it's called, the little GUI that's inside the games. You press the PlayStation button, it pops up. This thing. That's it, XMB. So you press the PlayStation button, you've got a simplified version of the PlayStation Network, friends list, all that kind of stuff. So you can do everything that is multiplayer in here. Let's get out of this. Come on, return me to game. Return me to game. Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to switch with mods. Ah, there we go. Return to game. Jesus wept, it's hard work. It's been a while since I've actually been on here. So as you can see, the game's loaded up. Let's actually see what's going on. So this is the actual PlayStation 3 version. It's just streamed to me. Nice icon displays. Okay, yeah, nice one. Cheers. First time I played this, do you want to? Yes, I do want save data. So now it's actually making saves on the cloud. How crazy is that? It's the future. Back. Can we finally play a game? So you can go online if you want. Of course, these are older games, so I'm not sure what the actual online scene's like from any of these. Let's just go. Akira, let's do this. I'll show you what the actual lag's like and the response delay and all that kind of stuff, depending on your internet connection, of course. Mine's not too bad. Awesome. Yush. So every now and again, you may, depending on what kind of connection you've got, you may see spikes, lags, things like that. But they're few and far between, and to be honest, they do not mess up on the gameplay. The controls are pretty responsive. Again, this will differ from every user. That's why it's probably best to use a 7-day trial before you actually plow money into this, because... Get in there! The last thing you want to do is put money into something that you can't use. Easy. Too easy. But that is how good it is. And all you need to do, close game, show you when I quit. And it'll bring you back to the menu. And then if I was to go back into that game, even now or at a later date, it would hold all the stuff in the cloud to get me up and running as I was before. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So that is the PlayStation Now program. It is absolutely awesome, and I'm pretty shocked that they finally brought this onto the PC. It has been out for some time, a couple of months maybe, and certain people have been joining onto it. I have heard positive reviews in terms of the actual compatibility, playability, and performance of this program. However, for me, it's a little bit pricey. I know there's like 400 plus games. I'd say 50% of those I can write off straight away because they're games that I would never touch. But there are some very good quality games and ones that I would love to play over and over. But I would also say that there's a hell of a lot of games that are missing from there. And I know that it's probably due to licensing issues and third-party developers that want to jump on the bandwagon. There is loads of games that are on this which you wouldn't think should be on this, but does that even make sense? I don't know. So please don't take my word for gospel. It all depends on the actual user themselves and what kind of games they like to play. If you've got the kind of broadband and the computer to get this up and running, then you will be surprised at the quality, at the selection of games, and what this brings to you. The only thing that I can see bringing this down, if it doesn't tick all them boxes, is the price. Now for me, this is pretty steep for these games. Yes, like I said, there's such a wide selection, but many of them I will not play. For £12.99 UK pounds, or for almost $20 US, it's a lot per month. Yes, I can play any of these games whenever I want, as many times as I want. It holds everything in there, but it's just too steep for games that are this old. I don't know. It's my interpretation. But at least now they've given you 7 days to do it, and at least now, if you didn't know already, I've now brought it to your attention. So, thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Please like, please subscribe, please do all the things that people do in this world of emulation and PS3 games streamed to our home as if it's 2017 nearly. But most of all, you have a good day. Laters!